Good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm good, how are you?
Doing very well. My name is Chip Zeller. I'm a therapist here. Just wanted to thank you for coming in today. We appreciate the opportunity to get to serve you. We're going to have to do what's called a diagnostic interview. Don't panic. It's just a series of a lot of questions that help us kind of know you better, figure out a little bit of some of your past history. If there's any symptoms that you are aware of that we could ask, and we'll kind of share that. It's going to take about 30 minutes. Make sure you kind of know that. It's going to be a pretty long process. I'll try to make it as fun as I can. But a lot of it is just some questions, and I'm going to be writing down kind of your responses. Before you came in, you probably signed a confidentiality waiver. That is to let you know that whatever we discuss here in this room stays in this room. Whenever I make any sort of notifications or notes or changes in the computer, it stays secure with us. Is that okay that I take notes and that I put them into a computer program so we can save it? If you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself.
My name's Kelly Akers, and I'm 26 years old.
Okay. As I write these documents, is there any sort of personal pronouns that you prefer me use?
She and her.
Okay, fantastic. Of course, everything that we say here is confidential, unless I feel reason that there might be some harm to yourself or to others. By my state certification, I have to report that. I'll make sure that you know that ahead of time. Nobody else can get this information unless you sign over that you can release this information to them. So everything that we do today will be kept safe. We are recording it, so I can look back over it and kind of take some notes. Are you okay that we record it?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. You already gave me your age. What is your date of birth?
September 2nd of 94.
Okay. And you identify as female. What is your ethnicity?
Caucasian.
Okay. Do you have any religious or faith background?
Christian.
Okay. So what brings you to our offices today?
Well, I've been pretty stressed out. I'm in grad school, and this is my last year. And with COVID and classes and everything going on, I'm having a really hard time adjusting, more so than I normally do.
Okay.
So I just feel like I need to come talk to someone, just because normally I feel like I can handle everything on my own, but it's getting to the point where I can't do that. And I don't want to rely on my friends to listen to me talk all the time.
Okay.
So.
Do you feel like sometimes you might be a burden to your friends?
Yeah. Every day. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you been to other agencies for therapy, or is this?
I went to a therapist when I was younger. I was about 12.
Okay.
And he was not very helpful.
Okay.
But since then, no, I've not seen anyone else.
Okay. And we'll get to that later. I just want to make sure that you know that we are very happy that you chose us. We're going to ask a couple of questions. Again, answer to the best of your ability. If you can't remember, I'll just put NA. So you don't have to answer everything, but as best as you can, recollect. We'd love to have some of this information to put together a profile for you. When did these feelings begin? You mentioned feeling overwhelmed. You mentioned feeling anxious. Of course, with COVID, everything has been kind of amped up in your feelings. But when do you think these feelings began?
It started getting really bad probably around January of this year. But I'm honestly anxious and just nervous all the time. But really it just started in January, and then maybe even last August when I started grad school.
Okay.
I'm from Eastern Kentucky, so moving to Lexington, this is a larger area, so I don't think that helped me much either. So that's probably one of the causes of me just being so nervous all the time and meeting new people. But I would say either last August or really January is when it started getting bad.
Okay. When you started actually noticing that?
Yeah.
Before that, were there any feelings like this in your past?
Yeah. Throughout undergrad and some in high school, I'm just nervous all the time.
Okay.
But in high school I played sports, so that helped me out a lot. It just gave me something to do and not just sit in my own thoughts about things and worry about school.
Right.
So without sports, and with COVID, they canceled everything, so I couldn't even watch sports anymore. So it's just been awful.
Huh, okay, I'm in the same boat. I love sports, and not being able to participate, would have the same kind of effects where now you're left with just your thoughts. When was the last time you felt emotionally content?
Probably the summer after I graduated undergrad.
Okay. How would you describe your mood currently and in the past?
In the past, it's not like a numbness, but it's just sort of unemotional.
Okay.
I just don't really care about the things like, I used
Okay.
to in general. But now it's pretty much the same, but I can find joy in certain things because sports are starting to come back, and I'm sort of just trying to get out more and do things with the friends that I do have here.
Okay.
But
Very good.
it's pretty much the same, not really numb, but not really emotional either.
I understand. You mentioned before that there are times where you feel anxious or overwhelmed. What triggers these feelings?
When I have a lot due for classes, when I feel as if my peers know more than I do, when I'm introduced to new people, or just I get around crowds, I get nervous, or just simple, being in situations where I know that I'm not going to enjoy it, but I'm just doing it because my friends want to.
Okay. Would you say that your symptoms increase or decrease over days, weeks, or months?
Increase and decrease.
Okay, so it fluctuates?
Yeah.
Okay. How long do these symptoms last typically?
For example, modules opened up on Sunday. I'm probably amped up until about Friday.
Right.
And then Saturday, I sleep for an entire day and then just restart on Sunday.
Okay.
So probably 5 to 6 days.
Okay, that was
Yeah.
going to be my next question. Are you sleeping well?
No, no. I average probably about 3 to 3.5 hours a night
Okay.
because I feel like I have homework.
All right, I understand. So your routine has been disrupted by
Yes,
these symptoms?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Has it affected any relationships?
I see myself getting aggravated with my family when they wanna do simple things like just call me, just
Right.
because I feel like I don't have the time to talk to them.
Okay.
Or when I do talk to them, they don't understand the workload that I actually have, so they just feel like I have a 15-minute
Yeah.
time slot to talk to
So
them.
when mom calls and asks, did you eat today?
Why does that matter? Like, just say hi and then
I
get off the
understand,
phone.
yeah. I'm still alive, Mom.
Yeah, I'm texting you when I
I
can.
understand.
Love
Very
you,
good.
but I need to go.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
You said you noticed these symptoms probably, would it be safe to say, your freshman year of college or earlier?
I would say actually noticed them and was sort of proactive with it freshman year of college.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. That kind of leads to a series of questions kind of about your past psychiatric. When did you first seek treatment or therapy for these feelings?
I've never really sought out treatment for these symptoms, but when I went to a therapist in the past, it was from my parents getting divorced.
Okay.
So, I've not really had treatment for what's going on with me,
Okay.
like with my feelings and stuff.
For the divorce that you were able to take in some sort of counseling, were those treatments helpful?
No.
Okay. Have you ever been hospitalized?
Mm-mm.
All right, so you haven't had any specific symptom-related hospitalizations?
No.
Okay. Have you ever received any sort of outpatient treatment on a regular basis?
No.
Okay. Do you take any medications on a regular basis?
Just Advil or Motrin or ibuprofen, just simple things if I have a headache.
Okay. Very good. Any medication specifically for any symptoms?
No.
Okay. When you do take medication, if you have, do you find that it helps at all? Would you be opposed to trying something that did help?
My dad is an addict, so I try to veer away
Okay.
from medication.
Okay.
But
So-
if I really need it and if I really think that it would be beneficial for me, I would try it, but I
Okay.
would like to stay away from that.
Okay, very good. Have you ever had any thoughts about hurting yourself?
Mm-mm.
Do you engage in any type of self-harm?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Have you ever attempted to act?
No.
All right. Have you been angry to the point where it led you to think about hurting other people?
No, just a normal agitation that people
Okay.
are just stupid, but no, not to the point where I
Um,
would physically do something.
Would you say you have felt aggressive towards others?
Not physically, just
Okay.
snappy, I
Alright.
would say.
Any homicidal thoughts?
No.
Any suicidal thoughts?
Mm-mm.
Okay. How would you describe your mood right now?
Calm, just here.
Okay. What about yesterday?
I was sleepy yesterday.
Okay.
Exhaustion is
Okay.
my normal mood.
How about last week? How was your mood last week?
Oh God, I feel like I don't even remember what I did last week. Probably the same, just exhaustion.
Okay. Have you experienced any sudden changes in your mood that seemed scary?
No, not really, not that, they don't really seem scary.
Okay. Any visions or noises that only you can hear or see?
Hope not.
Okay.
I hope that you see what I'm seeing.
How often would you say you feel anxious? How many times per week?
Oh
would
my
you
God,
say?
every day,
Every day?
every day, yeah.
And do those feelings last all day?
Majority of the day, probably about 70% of the day.
Okay. Has these levels of anxiety lead to any sort of panic attacks?
Yes,
Okay, how often?
probably about 3 times a week.
3 times a week?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do in those situations? How do you kind of reclaim your emotions and calm down, or do you just have to write it out?
It depends where I'm at. If I have class or something, I tend to just try to write it out.
Okay.
But if I'm at home, I'll genuinely try to go on a walk or paint or just do something to take my mind off of what caused that to happen.
Are there any particular environments or situations that make you feel this way?
Probably just when I'm in a situation around a lot of people that, I don't really know how to say it. I love sports and I love being in that environment,
Right.
but when I'm around a crowd outside of that, I
Okay.
get nervous.
So anything outside of your element that
Yes,
you,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So the elements that you choose to be in, you feel fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm perfectly fine.
Would you consider yourself someone who worries a lot?
Yes, about myself and others.
Okay. Is it hard for you to control or stop from worrying?
Yes,
Okay. Does worrying affect your ability to enjoy the moment?
yes.
Okay. Expound upon that.
I usually just expect the worst out of anything. If I'm going out to, I'm going to Kings Island on Saturday with my friends,
Okay.
and I'm automatically like, oh, well, we could get in a car wreck. Well, there might be a lot of people there. It's COVID.
Right.
Is everyone gonna bring a mask? Do I need to bring extra masks? How long are we gonna stay there?
Mhm.
Do I need to do next week's work for school now? That way I don't have to do it later. Like, what, do we have class next week? When am I gonna get time to sleep? It's just,
Okay.
it just,
I understand, yeah.
yeah.
Do you have any activities that you feel you must complete in order to avoid or reduce this stress?
School,
Okay.
like just classwork in general.
How do you feel when you complete those tasks?
Great. I sleep.
Great.
I feel great.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we have just a few more minutes here. I'm gonna ask you some personal information questions. They might be uncomfortable, but if you could answer them to the best of your ability, I would appreciate it.
Okay.
If there's anything I ask and you don't wanna answer, just let me know, and we'll skip to the next question, okay?
Okay.
Have you ever experienced an event that you can't seem to forget? The word we would use here, do you have any trauma memories?
Probably, last semester, we had a quiz in a class and I walked in and I wasn't aware that we had one.
I love when that happens.
And that really got me.
Yeah,
It sent me over the edge. Like, I felt like I just couldn't breathe. I was seeing stars. My vision got blurry. I felt like I was gonna pass out just because I just didn't feel prepared.
I understand.
Yeah.
Would this be considered the worst thing that ever happened to you?
I feel like it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Have you been seriously injured or had your life been threatened or been in danger? Have you ever had that?
No,
Okay. Have you been a victim of sexual abuse?
No.
Any sexual assault?
No.
Any experience with physical abuse
Mm-mm.
or emotional abuse? Okay. Are there episodes where you lose track of time or have trouble remembering important details about your daily life?
yeah, probably when I'm just doing schoolwork, I'm sort of so focused on that I lose track of time for other things, or if that makes
Okay.
sense.
It does. Would you say that you're sick more often than most people?
No.
Okay. And how do you feel about your physical appearance?
I feel like it's pretty normal. I have to shower daily, just because I feel like that's some sort of structure outside of school that
Okay.
I enjoy.
Okay.
So I would say pretty normal.
Okay. Do you have any eating problems that may affect your overall health?
When I'm really stressed, I tend to not eat,
Okay.
but I'll sort of snack throughout the day as
Okay.
I'm doing schoolwork.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Fantastic. You mentioned earlier about sleep patterns. Is that pretty consistent?
Yes.
So it's 3 to 4 hours a night?
Yeah, no more, no less.
One big long nap at some point during the week?
And that long nap can be between 7 to 12 hours.
Okay. Would you consider that enough sleep? Does it rejuvenate?
I feel rested
Okay.
after, yeah.
Okay. Do you consume any tobacco products?
No.
Do you have any history with marijuana?
No.
Okay. Do you consume alcohol?
Yes.
I'm gonna ask you a kind of a rating scale. How often do you consume alcohol? 0 to 2 drinks a week, 3 to 5 drinks a week, 5 to 7?
Depending on the week, but usually it's 3 to 5. But
Okay.
if we're celebrating something or someone's birthday's coming up, it's usually a bit more.
Okay, would you say 10 or more drinks a week?
No, 7 to 10.
Fantastic, all right. Have you had any problems stopping drinking?
No.
Okay, so you can drink 3 to 5 a week
I can
and you're
drink
done.
and yeah.
You can go without
Yeah.
alcohol for a while. Okay. Okay. Have you had any problems with drugs or medications?
No.
Okay. Are you taking any medications consistently?
Just the stuff for
so
headache.
nothing prescribed?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever noticed sudden or drastic changes in your personality?
When school is going on, I'm constantly just amped up, but
Okay.
over the summer, I'm great.
Okay. Do these changes negatively impact your relationships?
Yes.
We're gonna look at some of your past medical history. Again, if there's any questions here that are uncomfortable, feel free not to answer. If you can't remember, just tell me you can't remember. Do you have any chronic medical conditions or problems?
No.
Have you had any surgeries?
No.
Okay. Have you experienced seizures?
No.
Have you ever lost consciousness?
No.
Any hospitalization for any reason?
No.
Okay. Do you take any sort of supplements or daily vitamins or herbal medicines on a daily basis?
No.
Okay. You say you don't use any sort of marijuana regularly for any symptoms? Okay. Has anyone in your family had a history of mental illness or any sort of mental disorders?
My mother was diagnosed bipolar type 2,
Okay.
and then that's it.
No other member of your family?
No.
Has your mother been hospitalized for that mental health issue?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know whether or not your mother had any medical emergencies with her pregnancy or with her delivery?
No. She always said that I was her healthy baby, so
Okay.
it was healthy all the way through.
Okay. Do you feel like you developed emotionally on the same pace as your peers during your childhood?
Probably more so.
Okay.
I had to grow up a lot quicker
Okay.
due to just personal circumstances, so I'd say it was normal though, other
Okay.
than that.
Did you find yourself in those circumstances having to care for others? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have younger siblings?
No, it was more so like other family members that were
Okay.
older, yeah.
Okay. Were there any moments of concern with your development that caused doctor's visits or any sort of medical opinions?
No.
Okay. Was your physical development on time with your peers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got about 15 more minutes, is that okay? You're doing
Yeah,
all right?
yeah.
You need a break or water or anything?
Doing great?
Okay. Did you have any behavioral or learning problems in school?
No.
Okay, no trouble interacting with peers or teachers?
No. I
Okay,
pretty
were-
much talk to a tree.
Very sociable then.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you able to keep up with the schoolwork on your own?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so no
Pretty,
problems?
Just because of how anal I am about it.
Okay.
But yeah, like no problems like being able to hold my own
Okay.
in class.
Were you pleased with your achievement in school?
Yeah, I mostly went through school, I probably could have done better, but I usually got the 2.5 or higher to play sports. Like I
Okay.
never was,
Yeah, to stay eligible.
yeah, I just
All
wanted
right.
to stay eligible, yeah.
What is the highest level of education you have achieved?
I'm currently in grad school
Okay.
for social work. so.
Fantastic. All right. What was your home life like when you were a child?
It was pretty good, pretty normal up until about 11 or 12. My parents divorced, and I grew up in an area where my peers had parents who were married, slept in the same
Okay.
bed. My parents never did that, but we did live under the same house. They divorced, and then they both didn't really want to raise me, so they just sort of said, hey, your granny's gonna raise you. So that was fun, but that was kind of hard. It was stressful.
What age was that?
I was around 11 or 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did it have any impact on you in school or socially?
I started to withdraw a lot because I was embarrassed that my parents weren't together, but my peers'
Right.
parents were
I
together.
understand.
But other than that, I played sports. I did what I could to stay out of the house,
Okay.
and that was
Okay.
that.
Any siblings?
No, just me.
Overall, did you enjoy your childhood?
I did. I'm thankful that I have a lot of friends, and who I try to keep up with today. They're pretty patient with me. But it was a good childhood, stressful at times, but it was okay.
Did you engage with extended family during those times?
No. They were all sort of so mad at my parents that looking back on it, I feel like they just projected that onto me.
Okay.
So I really just kept in the circle with talking to either my mother, my father, or my grandparents.
Okay.
So
Would you say you have a positive relationship with your parents now?
I have a positive relationship with my mother. I do not talk to my father.
Okay.
And then when I go back home to visit my granny, it's my paternal grandparents.
Okay.
So
We're gonna talk about, what about your current job status?
I am working,
Okay.
working at Walmart,
Okay.
just part-time, while I'm going through school, but,
Okay, good. Have you ever had any trouble getting or keeping a job?
No.
Okay, how long have you been at your job now?
Since June.
Okay, do you like it? You like working
Yeah, it's something else to do other than school.
there? Okay. We're gonna ask you one more kind of quick series of questions. It's kind of referred to as like a life satisfactory skill, or not satisfactory skill, but a life just satisfactory scale. I apologize. And there is opportunities to kind of like fill it out. And it's just kind of like a small thing, like questions like 1 through 7. Do you enjoy this? Is this
Mhm.
something that, how would you rate where you are with that? Let me get that kind of ready for us, and you can just kind of mark down where you feel like you would fall in that. And it's nothing big. It's just we're gonna kind of gauge on how you were, and how you think you could maybe feel overall about your life, 1 through 7. So we'll just look at this and just see if that's something that we do. It's only like 3 or 4 questions, and then we'll just kind of give you an idea of what you would say. Okay, on this day I feel 7 or a 6 or a 5 in this capacity. We'll kind of talk about it and kind of add it up, but it's not, don't stress over it. It's just a couple little.
Do I get a copy of this?
Yes, you will.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. And we are gonna kind of take a look at this. Now, my last thing is just kind of an overall, how do you feel about this type of conversation?
I think it'll work, now that I'm older and, can really receive feedback.
Okay.
I think that this is a good structured thing for me that I can look forward to throughout the
Okay.
week other than school.
Would you say that our appointments can be basically operate around your schedule at this particular time
Yeah.
every week?
Yeah, I'll make this time slot work.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we were to go twice a week in the future, do you think that would be beneficial or too much?
I think that I would more so make that work than other things in my life.
Okay.
Just because I would see it as beneficial,
Okay.
so I wouldn't be
Okay.
opposed to 2 times a week.
Well, just so you know, this is just the initial intake. I'm gonna take this and kind of make some notes, and we'll kind of together come up with treatment goals and treatment objectives. I'm also gonna write up a quick summary of what I think would be a target diagnosis. I'm gonna go over that with you in the next couple of weeks, so you can read over it and make sure that what I have deduced is accurate. If we have to make any changes, we can easily do that, but I'd love to keep seeing you once a week, and we'll work on a treatment plan, we'll work on goals and objectives that we can do to hopefully kind of take this and become much more aware of our mental health and well-being, and I really do appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you so much, that would
All
be
right.
great.
You are very welcome. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
All right.